good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. I can't seem to help. It's like you cast a spell. I'll keep loving you. You don't love me too. But I won't cry it. I'll just sing a lullaby. You moved on already. I know I gotta stay strong. You said that you love me forever, but I guess that's gone. And I can't seem to hide all this pain that I feel inside. But that's okay, I'll just sing a lullaby. Listen, I can't seem to help. No. Oh, it's like you cast a spell. Can't believe we're through. You win and you lose. But I won't cry, I'll just sing a lullaby. Listen. You moved on already and I know I gotta stay strong. You said that you love me forever, but I guess that's gone. And I can't seem to hide all this pain that I feel inside. But that's okay, I'll sing a lullaby. Hey y'all, we are back. How you doing? I hope all is well. This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right podcast. Okay, the episode today is different. It is the middle of the day. People, so I don't know if I'll be on. Usually the podcast is done later in the day. It's my hair, I need to shave. The title of this podcast is called, wait for it, The Art of I missed it. The Art of Friend Zone. Sorry. The Art of the Friend Zone, where hope goes to die. Episode 191. I'm sorry. It is what it is, man. Listen, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. I welcome my first-time listeners, my regular listeners, my last-times listeners, and my fair-weather friends who come whenever they feel like it, whatever that means. Welcome to episode 191 of You're Probably Right podcast. Today, we're cutting through the noise, hopefully, and diving into one of the most frustrating social dynamics, the friend zone. But this isn't your typical discussion now, filled with self-pity and excuses. We're breaking down the raw mechanics of why people keep you close, but never close enough. Whether you're the backup plan, the emotional sponge, or just the comforting distraction they call when things go sideways for them. This episode is all about seeing it for what it really is and figuring out what you're going to do about it. So let's get into it now. I must say again, I am a Christian. This is not a Christian podcast. This is just me and my thoughts in most cases. So I just wanted to put that out there because I do say often that I'm Christian, and I just have a feeling there's somebody sitting there, well, I don't see the scripture for this one. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just me just talking to people. If you want the real advice, if you really want to know what to do, I would say consult your local Bible, your local minister who has time to talk to somebody who is having these different relationship issues. What is wrong? I'm like tongue tied today. Maybe this is too close to me waking up or something. So I'm going to try, as I said before, this isn't the usual style that I do with the podcast. There's a lot of stuff that I'm just going to have to pull out of my foot to make this all come together. I don't know how well this is going to work because I usually just answer questions based off what I already know, although I will be doing that to some level. But understand that when I do my podcast, I don't cut anything. Nothing is ever cut. Everything that I've ever said so far up until 191 has been just me talking. I don't cut my podcasts. I think I did cut one, and that was because somebody was making noise close to me and it was picking up on the microphone. But for like content or the fact of whatever it is I am saying, I don't say, oh, let me just pull that out. I don't do that. Everything is just straight. So if I do make mistakes or I do say a bunch of nonsense, this is why I encourage all of my listeners to read the Bible, go to church, maybe join a support group or some people who are like-minded in, maybe the situation or the question that maybe the questions that I'm answering in a particular episode. Maybe they are out there. Maybe it's a Facebook friends kind of group you need to be in or something like that. I don't know. So I'm just going to get into it, and I'm just hoping that I'll be able to do this on the fly. I don't like a lot of dead air, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to be okay with sitting on question. I've watched podcasts, and maybe the fact that you're not watching me also lends itself to my frustration and need to get something out. So hopefully, please understand if I do take long to get into something. I really don't know how nicely this is gonna flow. You understand? So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. Just wanted to give myself some excuses just in case things don't turn right. At least I'm honest. Some people will just come up with a whole bunch of nonsense. Like I might not know. Like I know the topic and I know why I've pulled this topic out. But yeah. So there's no fakeness here, right? I'm just talking to my friends. You know what I mean? You're out there, you're my listener, and pretend it's just me and you talking. Who knows what you're doing? Maybe it's a Saturday. Maybe you've just put the kids to bed. Maybe your spouse just left for whatever reason. Maybe you just left your spouse and you're driving in your car and not sure where exactly you're going to park your car for the night to sleep. I really don't know. Yeah, so let's get into it. So, because everything is so structured, it's kind of funny being unstructured but structured at the same time. It's kind of cool, I guess. Let me just, okay, so said that already. Let me also, I won't do that. Okay. Key themes to explore. Here we go. Number 1, the utility factor. Are you useful or wanted? There is a difference. Because some people will tell you that everything you do for them, they don't need you to do, and they could technically do it by themselves. They might not be able to do it as well, but they could get their stuff done. I've been told that before. First point, are you in their life because they appreciate you or because you fill a role they need? And that's something to really, really, really think about, because something just happened there. I didn't even know what that was. I don't want to answer. Hold on. Let's see what that was. Some warning thing just popped up just now, crazily, and I didn't like what I saw. I don't want it to all of a sudden jump in the middle of me talking. Let me just see. Sometimes these screens do funny things. Huh. Magically disappeared. How about that? Would it sound better if I speak like this the whole time? Probably not, right? Well, let's try the first one like that and see if everybody... No, just joking. All right. I know I'm silly, man. It's fun. If I can't be silly, then I don't want to be. Just telling you. Sometimes I gotta be, funny. All right. So getting back to it. Are you there? Are you there, caller? All right. Are you there because they appreciate you, or because you feel a role or a need or a void or something of some kind? You have to understand that there's a difference between being appreciated and just serving a purpose. Is it that you wake up every morning on time and you're able to get them out of bed too? Is it because they care about you and therefore they do things that show you that they really appreciate you? Or are they using you for whatever? You're going to have to figure that out. I think people know, really know, innocent people. First of all, I'm just trying to talk about just regular, average individuals generally know when they're using you. And I think deep down, if you turn off the cell phone, turn off the screen out of your face from the TV or the computer or whatever it is, the noise of outside, turn off the music that are suggestive. Take some quiet time and really sit, really ponder. You might even need to talk to yourself. Maybe you need to talk out a list of things into some sort of a, maybe like Word or Google Docs or something like that with the recorder on, and list 10 things that you do for them. And then list 10 things that they've done for you. Or maybe 10 things that you've given them and 10 things that they've given you. Maybe you need to do that. Maybe they tell you that they appreciate you or show you that they appreciate you by... Maybe they clean your shoes every day for you. You know you're not going to do it, and maybe you look sloppy every day, but for some reason these shoes just turn up clean every day. Maybe they do things out of the ordinary that they wouldn't normally do, like maybe she tries to shovel your driveway. Crazy. Most guys don't like it when women try to do stuff like that for them, because most guys take it on as a man's job. So you come home and your wife or your girlfriend shoveled your driveway. Maybe she doesn't even live there. Maybe he doesn't live there. Maybe he wants to make it easier for you to get about. So remember, I'm going back and forth. So it's not only guys, not only girls. I'm just trying to trying to make you think. You're trying to figure out if this person really, really cares about you. Maybe they call you ahead of time to tell you. They don't usually call you. They call you to say, hey, you're walking into a mess right now at work, or maybe you're walking into a mess on the street where we live because such and such happened. Now, they didn't have to, and they could have been focused on whatever it is they were normally doing, but they take time out of their daily life just to do something for you because they appreciate you, because you're important. Does this person ever do that for you? Or is it just because you do things for them, why they're even around at all? Right? Maybe you're in a relationship with someone and everything is cool, and there's a buildup until sex has happened. And once that has taken place, maybe they slowly go quietly away. And even in that, you have to be careful, because maybe you're the type of person who holds it over, say, a guy's head, so that there is a lot of buildup, literally, figuratively. There is a lot of buildup, but it's not natural. And the reason why it's not natural is because you've been holding it over their head the whole time. So they've had to work at getting that situation dealt with. And then once they've expelled all that energy into getting said sex, let's say, they're tired. Physically tired, mentally tired. So they go off into a corner somewhere and they check out. Only you take it as, oh, you got what you needed and now you're over there, when before you were all over me. Well, yeah, the person's exhausted. And what I'm saying right now might be an actual revelation to some women. Maybe not, because you might be butthurt, as they say, over it, because you don't see it that way. But I'm telling you, that's a real thing. I've been to the other side of the mountaintop. And I'm coming back to tell you that literally sometimes guys work so hard for sexual gratification from their spouse, or from their girlfriends, that when they get to that point and they've crossed the river, they have nothing left for a time. They literally need to recharge, because there was such a fight to get there in the first place. Don't only look at the guy as, yeah, he got what he wanted and he left. No, maybe you made it. Maybe you were hard to get. You know what I mean? Maybe make it easy and see where he goes. You know, maybe that's your style. Maybe, you know, you want to be sought out. You want to be chased. You want to be dated. You want to be nurtured. You want to be pursued. So that's what you do normally. But I'm saying differently. If you want to see how he is naturally, because you're putting an artificial block on whatever it is he wants to get. And maybe it's that. Guys want that. That's the reality of guys. Most guys wouldn't be in a marriage if that wasn't a part of it. Now, of course, you get to the point, you get to the age where you're just happy somebody is there to listen to your nonsense. They're just another warm body to share a meal with, to talk to watch a show with, to read a book with, to go to church with, to go to a museum with, to walk down the neighborhood streets with, you know, in the cool of the day. But generally, men from the age of, I would say, 17 all the way up to 69 or 70 are looking for some sort of a sexual relationship with, hopefully, their wife. Many guys can't hang on if they're not in that kind of situation, which I would advise you to, if you're a man, to not have sex out of marriage. The Bible says it, and that's what you should live by. I know that it's very difficult for many men. Some guys can do it. Some guys work at it. Some guys don't. But I'm just naturally speaking. So I'm not advocating for sex out of marriage at all. And again, I'm talking about marriages as well at the same time. But I'm just talking in, realistic terms. If you do have a woman, you've been together, get married. Let it be legal in God's eyes and in the eyes of the law. Even though there is something such as, I can't even think of the word now, common law. Right? But let's not be common law. Let's be law in that state, in whatever state we're in. But beating that point to death, which I'm okay with, because usually my podcasts only last about 37 minutes, 40 minutes, and sometimes an hour. I'm going to see how long I can totally suss this out for anybody who cares and anybody's listening. Okay, next point. I know I probably didn't think that all the way through, but at the same time, I'm not trying to make this 4 hours. So I'm just going to let it be there, because I might even step on some other stuff if I talk too long anyhow. Second point, but we're still only on the first, utility factor. Are you a utility factor? Are you useful to them? And that's why they keep you around. Do you cut the lawn? Sorry, I'm going back to it, but I gotta. Do you cut the lawn? Do you take out the garbage? Do you wake them up? Do you make breakfast for them? Do you make their coffee? Do you pay their bills? Do you keep their bills in order? Do you give them some sort of connection to a social life because they have friends and you don't? Do you make them feel special because you are a person of so-called high value, and therefore your value gets added to them in social situations, in your family situations, in societal situations, just sitting in a car, in an expensive car that you couldn't otherwise be in, except for the fact that they're with you? Is it that simple? Is it that lame? Who knows? Signs you're providing emotional labor while they pursue other options. Are you the wubby? Are you the work wife? Are you the work husband? Maybe all it is they come to you and ask you a bag of questions of situations that they're in, or maybe they use you to answer a bunch of questions, or maybe you're there and you answer questions of stuff that they went through in their past and they wanted to bounce the situations off you because they really don't know. They really don't know if they were wrong in an argument. All they know is they had an argument and they might have been wrong the whole time, but some of us just don't want to be right or don't want to be wrong about anything. So we say something, we stand on it, we argue it till death, even though we don't even have a clue if we're right, which is sad, but it happens to people all the time. So are you there just for emotional labor? Like, do you have to rack your brain to tell them what you think in situations because they just don't know? There are many adults walking around every day. You see them every day who really don't have any answers to the emotional situations that they're, in their relationships, and they need someone to. People need answers, and they don't necessarily want them from the person that they are emotionally attached to. It's sad because, to be emotionally attached or sexually attached to someone who does not provide answers that you need when you ask, or maybe they dominate the conversation so you can never get a word edgewise in, or get it a word in edgewise, as they say. So you're just left with questions regularly, even though you communicate a lot. And that sucks. Sometimes you're there for these people and they're there just pursuing other people. Meanwhile, it's like, do you know I'm here? Do you see me? You see me as a friend, huh? Well, many of us guys are only in relationships with women for one reason. Now, of course, it's not necessarily just sex, even though that's the one reason. No, maybe they just want you to be theirs. It's not just one thing. It's just one situation, if anything. But you're pursuing other options. But most guys want to be that guy. They don't need female friends. There's nothing that you generally, I won't say nothing, because you'll have guys and girls that like to play chess and checkers, per se. Let's just say it. There's guys and girls who like books or like movies, or maybe you like hair and you like to do hair. Maybe you like to sing, so you're around the same people, around the same friend group or whatever it is. Or maybe you both play hockey, and you answer questions that they need answered, but they're looking for someone else. Maybe you're not tall enough for them. Maybe you're too tall for them. Maybe you're too fat for them. Maybe you're not very good looking, but you're emotionally connected You understand yourself and you understand the world. So people just want to use you for your, as they say, emotional intelligence, because they're lacking in that way. But they don't like how you look. Maybe they don't like how you smell. Maybe you got a horrible haircut. Maybe you're bald. Maybe your hair is thin. Maybe you've gone gray too early. Maybe your breasts are too small. Maybe your stomach is too big. Maybe your feet are too big. Maybe your hands are too small. Maybe your hands are too soft. Maybe your body is too soft. Maybe you don't have enough muscle. Maybe you have too much muscle. Maybe you're too vascular. Like, there's so many reasons why someone may not want to deal with you. And you have to be honest with yourself when you know those things are happening. I think most of it, again, is people who are not honest with themselves. You have to be honest with yourself. Don't think that the answer is just going to drop out of the sky and hit you in the forehead. It's not. It's already there. You know. You know when you're wasting your time. You know when it's not working. Now, I'm not literally telling anybody to leave a husband or a wife. No. You figure it out. But when you know something's going in the wrong direction, don't just sit there. Do something about it. If you're not invested totally, as in married, move on. Or at least address it with the person. Maybe something can be fixed. There are actual counselors who can help you work these things out. Not ones that sit there and put you in the hot seat while the two of them grill you over the coals about all the negatives in your life and all the stuff that you need to work on and give you homework for next session. Not that. You want someone who's going to work through whatever it is with you and not cause you or make you the cause of everything that's gone wrong in your situation. There is a difference. Speaking of the difference between being valued and being used. People can, when someone values you, you're going to see it. You're going to hear it. You're going to feel it. You're going to see it. They're going to give you stuff when they value you. They're going to give you compliments when they value you. They're going to let you know that they value you in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they're not good at speaking about it, but they will try. And the whole thing is, are you listening? Because not everybody's going to be able to talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes on how much they value you. You should be able to see it in their eyes. And if you're being used, you'll feel it. Because you're going to be exhausted after dealing with them. You're going to feel exhausted after doing something for them or with them. You're not going to be fulfilled after. Even if you are in certain ways, they're going to leave you feeling empty. Now, and again, this is an adult conversation. So if you are under 21, you probably shouldn't be listening to this. I try not to get too graphic, and maybe I won't even. I probably still won't. I still believe that there's childlike eyes listening to me, whether or not I make some sort of listener discretion, some whatever comment or phrasing I could possibly say, but a declaration of this is an adult conversation kind of thing. But you're gonna feel used. You're gonna feel empty if you're being used. Okay, because maybe you don't know. Like, is he using me for sex? Very possible. But as I said before, is it that you made this whole build up to it and he had to make sure that he turned the garbage to the left of the curb and park his and your car in a certain way? Did he have to go and fill your car first? Did he have to sleep on the couch for 4 days first? Did he have to go get tested after he's already been tested and you're the only person with him? Did he have to make sure that did you make sure that he prepared the meals first and then he somehow got something at the end of the night? Or maybe you woke him up and like, it's just and maybe you don't even get this. I'm sure there's some people like this is flying over their head. They're like, what? But there's a difference. But I can honestly tell you, if you're really paying attention, you can tell if you're being used. Now, again, because it goes deeper, it's okay if your significant other uses you. I know that's not a normal concept because we're not supposed to be used. No, you are, especially if you're in a marriage, because you're there for their gratification just as they are there for yours. The difference is when the person, your spouse, your significant other in the situation is using you, they're also mindful that you have needs too. So they're trying to be used of you. And that's the difference. People think that it's a bad word to say used. No, I want to be used. You want to be used by people you love. But people you love, you hope love you too and will allow you to use them. Not in a way where you're destroying them at the same time. Like, that's the difference with being used. Are you useful? Do you understand? Like, from that standpoint, I think the word used has taken on a different meaning in society these days. It's not that way. I'm saying the person you're with should be useful to you. They should be able to pay a bill here and there. They should be able to wash your car. They should be able to wash or iron your clothes. They should be there to try to gratify you in that way. Knowing that right now, you are the most important thing happening right now. And I am trying to make sure that you get what you want from me. Man or woman. Bottom line. But you're going to know if you look closely. As I said, some of these things need to be sussed out. Sometimes you need to sit there and write. You need to literally grab a pen and a notepad and write down some of the things that you've done together. Write down some of the things that they've done for you. Write down some of the things that you've done. And if any one of those lists are short, then there's some questions that you need to ask yourself. Am I giving enough? Are they giving too much? Is there a disparity in what we do for each other? Do you need to pull up your socks? Do they need to pull up their socks? Are you playing hard to get? Are you playing too hard to get? Are you too easy? Are you a pushover? Are you seeking gratification by way of giving and giving and giving because you're lacking the confidence of who you are and in who you are? Okay, we got to the second point now. Well, not the second point, but the second theme, I guess you could say. The invisible line. When attention feels like affection. How some people manipulate closeness without commitment. Sometimes people act like they're close with you. You'll get those people who are touchy-feely. You'll get those people who will come across as if they're telling you their heart. But then they're still not committed to you. There is nothing that makes you feel or should make you feel like they're committed to you. Yeah, when you talk, everything is, as they say, hunky-dory, but when you're not talking, it's just as fine as well. And I can tell you right now, if, it's like if there's nothing else to it, they have no desire to talk to you outside of a situation where you generally talk. Well, no, that's not your situation at all. So yes, there is an invisible line when attention feels like affection, but it's not. There's a big difference, because somebody can pay attention to you all they want. And hey, do you need this? And I think I need to get that for you. And here's a shirt. I bought you these shoes. But how are you feeling today? I noticed that you look a little sad. Did everything go okay with you today? You don't seem to be smiling as much lately. Is there something that your heart, that's on your heart that you wanted to talk about? Is there a place that you wanted to go? Is there a direction you wanted to change? Is there some sort of a pivot maybe in your career that you wanted to change, but you're worried and considering it, but not sure if we can make it? Like, does the person give into you? Do they pay attention to you? Is your back hurting, honey? I know you've been doing construction all these years, and we're paying our bills and we're barely making it. Maybe there's something else you wanted to do with your life, because your body's breaking down, and I want you here for a lot longer than it looks like you're going to be at present. Can I cut the grass for you this week? I know you don't want me touching the lawnmower, but is there some way that I can make your job easier? Can I come out in a half an hour and bring you some cold lemonade? If we go to bed maybe a half an hour early, can I give you a back rub? I know your feet are hurting. Do you want me to rub them for you and oil them and make you feel brand new again? Affection encompasses attention, but attention doesn't necessarily mean that it's affection. And then sometimes attention is affection because that person is lacking in the affection area. It's not because they don't want to. It's because it might not be inside of them that way. And you have to be able to know who you're around and the difference. And maybe if you have too many friends, too many personalities around you, you're not going to be able to figure that out, because the people around us affect us. Their ways affect us. It's either you're going to go their way, think their way, or they're going to come your way a little bit, even if it's a little bit, very minute. I know you have friends that are you're totally opposites, but there's something that attracts you to each other and some reason why you hang around with each other. But at some point, you're going to show their mannerisms. I've seen that in people I've listened to talk a lot, even on podcasts. Well, two people will be totally different. They're friends, but they're totally different. And I've noticed that there's a certain way this person explains themselves. And then I noticed that when the two people were not on the podcast at the same time, the other person starts talking and phrasing things the way the other person. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's how this person does it. It's, you're always rubbing off on somebody, or somebody's always rubbing off on you. And the question is what they're rubbing off or what you're giving off, is that what anybody wants or needs in their life? But yes, there is a difference. How some people manipulate closeness without commitment. I said there are people who will do for you and do a lot, but yeah, there's no closeness. The birthday gift will come up on time. Maybe it's in their phone. I don't know. Maybe they'll say Happy Valentine's Day, but it's robotic. Maybe they give you a kiss on the cheek, but they don't when you're behind closed doors. Only it's because you're in front of family, or because you're in front of friends, or because you're in front of someone who likes that person. So you offer a little more than you do normally when you're by yourselves. There should be no difference. And I know there's people who have issues of public public displays of affection, but there should be something. There should be something, no matter where you are, to know that this person is committed to you and they have affection for you. It shouldn't only be that they're providing things. And if it's all about somebody just providing, well, then guess what? Your needs, your physical needs will be taken care of. Your hierarchy of needs will be taken care of, but you might feel dead inside. So they might have that house. They might be able to buy you a house. They might be able to buy you 2 houses. They might be able to buy you the newest Tesla. They might be able to get your teeth done, pearly whites. They might be able to buy you a gym membership with a personal trainer. Doesn't mean that they're really there for you. They're taking care of some needs. Now, if that's good enough for you and you can get all the other stuff from your friends, go ahead. When you're 73 and it's only you and most of your friends are gone or dead or don't even speak intelligently anymore, it's just going to be you guys. And then you can look back at your life and say, I was satisfied with that. Maybe this person never offers you anything. I don't know. But they pay attention to you. Maybe they don't have money. Maybe they can't buy anything for you, but the affection makes you feel rich. Maybe there's a balance between the two. Who knows? The blurred lines between comfort, dependency, and genuine connection. Sometimes, a person will make you feel comfortable. Maybe they'll set the mood right. Maybe they make up the bed all the time. And you never have to make up the bed because it's just not your thing and you're just not good at it. You're lucky to drag yourself out of bed and go to work. Maybe you have a dependency on them to do a whole bunch of things for you, but there's actually no genuine connection. Or maybe all you do is have connection, but maybe it's not that genuine, because if you cared, you would have done this a little bit more. If they cared, they would have done this a little bit more. Maybe you have a total genuine connection, but you both have a dependency on each other and nobody really ever comes through. Maybe your comfort level is just so amazing. You can take off your clothes and go to the washroom while they're still in the washroom, and you're comfortable with them and they're like an old shoe, but there's still no genuine connection. Those lines get blurred all of the time. You have somebody who's comfortable with you and you're comfortable with them. You depend on them to do a certain amount of things. Maybe you depend on them to take care of the kids, but there's still no genuine connection, because generally when that happens is that somebody's not being genuine. So therefore it stops the genuine connection. Maybe they're scared that you're not going to appreciate the person that they are, so you never open up fully. Maybe you're too scared that they'll leave because they've given you that fear, or you've developed that fear, so they've never really opened up, or you've never really opened up, therefore not allowing the genuine connection. Sometimes you feel a genuine connection with someone you're not even in a relationship with, based on the fact that there's nothing else to come of it. So sometimes, there's women who will develop a genuine connection with a boyfriend, and they'll call them their best friend, or they'll take them on as someone who advises them, like a father role. But both of them know there's nothing sexual happening, so it seems healthy and pure. Problem is, most guys will play the long game, and you never know when they're going to come out differently. And maybe you'll be accepting at some level for whatever reason. Eventually they'll wear you down. You won't even know, you won't even see it coming. Next thing you know, you're with a guy who's 30 years older than you for whatever reason. Won't last long, obviously. Anyways, that's a whole other story. Recognizing when you're being strung along. You have to understand when, you're just doing things for someone all the time and they're not putting into you. Maybe you're just putting out, and there's nothing coming back. Maybe they said they're going to leave their spouse. Maybe they said they're going to leave their girlfriend. Maybe they said they're going to put more attention in you and not so much on their mom and their family. Maybe they're telling you that, they're going to have to double shift for the next 6 months, and that 6 months turns into a year because they're trying to pay off all their bills from school or pay off a car note or something like that. And there's no end in sight. Maybe you privately got married under the moonlight somewhere and you just need to make it official, and you've been waiting now for 3 years and they haven't done it. Maybe they were supposed to introduce you to their family, but they're scared because you're not of the same culture and they don't know how they're going to do it, but they've promised you, and now you've been waiting for 4 years. Maybe you've been waiting for a wedding. Obviously, you need to recognize when you're being strung along. Maybe they're using you for sex because you're the best they've ever had, and they've told you many times before, but yet they will not make a total commitment. Who knows? The just friends myth. What they won't tell you. All right, let's see how much space I got. Well, I know I got at least 15 minutes left. I don't know how I'm going to do all this information in 15 minutes. I have no idea. Okay. Why they keep you around even though they know how you feel. Well, maybe you're just friends. And maybe that's how you feel, but that's not how they feel, and they're playing the long game. Maybe you need them. Maybe they're your boss. Maybe they're your coworker. So they keep you around, and you want to be more than friends, but all they want is information and closeness from you. But why keep somebody around if you don't want them and you know that the person's stuck on you? To me, I think it's a good choice for the person who, as they say, has there's a power dynamic apparently somewhere there where you can leave, and this person might be so attached that they can't bring themselves to leave. And I think, if there's somebody who's stuck on you, instead of taking advantage and sticking around, maybe you should decide just to let them go other ways, or you go your other way, rather than keeping them just as a friend. I mean, there's nothing like that, then you probably need to cut ties a little bit. But people keep others around sometimes as a safety net. Sometimes they need people around to give them answers that nobody would normally give them. Maybe you're the person who's the realest ever. You keep it 100. That's cool if you're both really, really just friends. But I mean, if this person's already giving you the inkling that they want more, they want you as theirs, and you just kind of keep them hanging around. Even though, we're just friends, right? Yeah, of course. But come on. We know when somebody just doesn't want to be our friend, or when somebody just wants to be our friend. And at that point, it's up to us, those people, to step out of it and don't allow somebody to, make a fool of you. Just being straight up, you know what I mean? Like, don't just let somebody do whatever they want with you and not know your self-worth. You have worth. You are somebody. They are somebody, but you are also somebody. She says you're just a friend. Close friend. Never look at it that way with you. But yet guys sometimes hang out. Sometimes girls hang on. They want to see if situations can change. And as I said, there is a hidden power dynamic at play where you'll know who has the power in the relationship. Sometimes you need to take some of that back. Sometimes you need to be the person that, hey, I'll talk to you later. Maybe talk to them in 3 days. Maybe take your presence. I mean, to tell you the truth, sometimes when somebody puts you in the friend zone, it's your presence that they value. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe you give them amazing insights into life. Maybe you answer questions that they never seem to have the answers for, and they can't figure it out, and there's nobody else who talks to them the way you talk to them. And unknowingly, you have the power. Maybe there's the power they're holding over you, maybe because you're holding on for intimacy, just being real. But a lot of the time, you have more power than you think in the situation. Because at some level, your presence is necessary. I don't know if it's the presence of your paycheck, the presence of your body, the presence of your thoughtfulness, the presence of your working, like your ability to work and do. Maybe the presence of your ability to do stuff. You know, they say the most important ability is availability. And maybe you're always available. Maybe you need to take some of that back. Don't always be available. Don't answer the phone when you're in the shower. Don't always reroute your way to pass by to see if they're okay. Sometimes you need to not be there. You need to hold that presence. You need to let people know that you matter too. Dress like a king. Dress like a queen. If you look better, you feel better. You perform better, you get paid better. Look better, feel better, perform better, get paid better. And whatever that pay is, you'll get it. At the same time, you have to understand that you can't just be there for everybody. I remember one of the most important things about being a star back, let's say in the 80s or the 90s, was the fact that people weren't always going to be able to access you. That was the mystique of the royals, you know, Princess Diana and Charles. That was the mystique of Michael Jackson. And then Janet. It's like the American Music Awards, but Michael Jackson's not there. The BET Awards, but there's no Jay-Z. Do you understand? Like, these people knew how to keep themselves and hold themselves out of the public eye. It was the fact that once you became too accessible for someone or a group of people, then all of a sudden you didn't hold that same value anymore because you're too accessible. How to spot when you're just a placeholder? Well, obviously the easiest way to know that is when they give their undivided attention to you. They want to be around you. They have a long conversation with you. They snug and huddle, whatever, you know what I mean. They're all snuggling with you and huddled up with you until somebody else comes around. All of a sudden you can literally feel their attention shift over to somebody else because you're not that for them. Maybe you're in a relationship and everything's all about you two until somebody else is there. And then all of a sudden it's like, look, stay over here. I got to talk to this person over here. And I'll be over here, probably will be maybe 35, 45 minutes. And that 35, 45 minutes turns into 3 hours. And then you get to go finally, you get to go home or wherever it is you were going, the first place with them. Maybe you even missed the appointment or the situation or whatever you guys were going to do in the first place. But then you're miserable and they say, what's your problem? I was just over here trying to settle some stuff. And you realize, yeah, you're a placeholder. You might be a husband or you might be a wife or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but at the end of the day, they realize or recognize what's most important, and that happens not to be you. And you have to know the difference, otherwise you're just going to be used up. And trust me, people love to use other people if they can. If you let them, they will. It's not even a question. Fourth key theme: the breadcrumb strategy, keeping you hopeful but empty. When people say the breadcrumb strategy, I think about Hansel and Gretel. Anyhow, why small gestures keep you invested longer than you probably should be? Nobody knows. But generally, it's because of you haven't been around genuine, nice people before. And that's true for a lot of us. Maybe someone just keeps giving you a little morsel of something. And you're like, wow, this is the coolest thing. Maybe they're the only person giving you anything. Maybe they're the only person who's ever given you anything in your whole life. So you feel some sort of allegiance. You hold some sort of allegiance to them because they're supposedly a gift giver. You know, I remember one time I gave somebody a flower. And I can tell you right now, this person, it was like they're ready to die for me, because I gave them. I was like, it's a flower. It came from the gas station. And but it was like the best gift they ever got. You know what I mean? I just had met the person. This is, I'm a young whippersnapper. You know what I mean? And it was just the craziest thing. I was like, wow, really? A flower? And then you realize how miserable life can really be. How useless people can really be in other people's lives. That this person can grow up to the age of maturity and not 12, 21 and above, and nobody's ever given them, like a woman, of course, never given them a flower. Maybe nobody's ever cooked for them before, and this is something that you just thought that at least the mom would cook something for their child at some point, or a father would cook something, but for some reason, some of the normal stuff has been missed out by someone that they care about, or someone that supposedly cares about them. Maybe there's some sort of affection. There was something really small, some small gesture. Maybe it was just, maybe you peeled an orange for somebody and gave them to the orange. Like, whoa, nobody's ever peeled an orange for me. You'd be surprised. Maybe they just cut it in quarters and it was like, whoa, mind blowing. Maybe you shoveled their step and they're your neighbor. You understand? Like, there's just, but maybe it's something that this person does for you all the time. And it's like, maybe inside your heart, you're like, I wonder what this person wants from me. I'm just here. Like, it's just me, but I so appreciate it. So then maybe you stick around. Maybe you start investing your time and your heart and your mind into this person because of the little thing. But yet nothing's coming of it. But the reason why the small gestures keep a person invested in you, or keeps you invested in somebody else, is because nobody ever does anything for you, or you've never recognized anybody doing anything for you, and nothing that you valued anyway. But maybe you're waiting for the Big gesture. Be careful. And understand that sometimes those small gestures are really, really small in the other person's eyes, and you have no idea. It's just part of my culture. Yes. Every time you come to my house, I ask you if you'd like tea, and I go and I make it and I present it. I ask you how many sugars you want. And maybe that's just a part of my culture. Maybe I just make tea. Maybe I'm a chaiwala. Who knows? Be careful. Because people will string you along. And you have to understand the cycle of false hope. And usually it's something that you put on. It's like maybe you've been with this person and you've had a few good dates, and maybe you've gotten intimate. Maybe you shouldn't have, but you're there in the situation, and they said, don't worry, we're going to get married. I will make this legal. Maybe you had a kid or two, and it's still not legal. They still tell you they see other people. It happened. You were down for it. They were down for it. But, who knows? What happened, and now they string you along. You're one in the harem now. Maybe you're one of many suitors. It's a new world. Guys and girls can both do the same thing. There's no slut shaming. Who knows? How mixed signals create confusion and dependency. Maybe this person, they give and they take. Maybe one day they're into you and they want to talk about everything, your hopes and your dreams, and the next day they could care less. Maybe. Watch out for mixed signals. There's a push-pull dynamic in relationships that, sometimes somebody's trying to give you what you want today, and tomorrow they could care less what you have or what you don't have. And maybe today they try to make you feel like you're the most important thing in their life, and then you don't hear from them for 2 days. And you're like, what the heck? Maybe it's a thing around your period, women. Maybe they're perfect when you're perfect, and when you're not so perfect, then they're nowhere to be seen. Maybe they only come around when you're on your period. Maybe off your period. Maybe you're on your period and they don't want to talk to you. Who knows? So then you look to talk to other people at that time. I don't know. Check it out. You'd be surprised the the routines that we follow and we capture ourselves or find ourselves in, and we don't even realize we're in a routine. Maybe there's a certain behavior, and people say, oh, it's PMS. Well, maybe there is. Maybe you do repel this person during that time. So then by the time you're off, it's like, man, leave me alone. The exit plan. Are you ready to walk away? I think if you're not married, you should always be ready to walk away. If you're married, I think you should always be ready to make things better and to stay. So if you're not married, why your fear of losing them might be keeping you trapped. Get out of it. There's so many more fish in the sea. Maybe this person isn't exactly what you want them to be, and you think that if you marry them, they're going to change for the better. You have to suss that one out for yourself. But I know that people tend to get more ticked off with their partners the longer a marriage goes on. I mean, I know some people do change in that way, but out of 100, I would say it's probably 3. Most people tick you off as you get closer to them with little things because they know more about you. You know more about them. So certain things that you do, I don't know, you can stop doing it, but are you going to stop? Hey man, we're already here. We're married. Where you going? You gained 10 pounds. No, you gained 30. No, I'm telling you, that's the reality. It's sad, but true. The shift that happens when you stop being available, you'd be surprised. Maybe you've been too available for someone. pull back a little bit. No, not only as an experiment, but literally, maybe you've been giving too much. Maybe you've been giving too much of your time, too much of your brain power, too much of your emotion, too much sex. And that's why it probably definitely should be 0 if you're not married. Pull that away and see where they go. If they stay longer, they get more committed, you might be onto something. But not because it's a thirst trap though, because that's a whole different thing. If it's a thirst trap, when they can get married. You guys could get married. Maybe you started something, you stop it, they get into this thirst trap, you get married, they get it, and then they're like off to the races again. It's a really serious thing. You got to be careful. You leading somebody around by their nose. You know what I mean? But if you're too available for someone, be careful. Switch it up. Maybe not so available. Maybe smell the roses. Look over there and check out the greener grass for a second. Let them breathe. Maybe you smothered them so they couldn't even see what else is going on. Maybe they do need to see what else is going on to realize that what they have going on is better than anything else going on. You can rewind that if you didn't get that. How to walk away strategically without drama. Yes, sometimes you need to make yourself scarce a little bit. And maybe they don't recognize when you're gone. And maybe you don't really matter as much as they thought you do, or maybe they don't. Then you can leave amicably. Jeez, amicably. You know? Maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need an exit plan. Maybe you need to wean yourself off of them. Maybe you've been addicted a little bit, you know? And we're going to wrap it up here, but there's 10 questions, and maybe you can write them down, or maybe I'll include them in the description of this podcast. 10 questions to explore, but maybe you need to ask yourself. I don't know if I'm going to ask them. Let me see. Number 1, are you their priority or just an option when their real plans follow through? Like, are you there? Remember, like, when you're at school, I remember Seinfeld talked about this. It's like, you're at school, you have your friends, they stay over, you stay over. Then somebody goes to camp, it's summertime, and then they find a new best friend because you're gone to summer camp, fat camp, computer camp, music camp, whatever. They have a summer friend. And it's so amazing, but when September comes back, you're back with your regular friends, and that summer friend all of a sudden doesn't mean so much anymore. You got to make sure that you're not just a plug-in for the situation, for the time. And you got to make sure that that person isn't that for you. Next question. Do they ever talk about their future with you, or just about their struggles? If they're just talking about their struggles, then just understand that you're just a fixer. But if they do spend a lot of time talking about you and them in the future, then maybe there is much more to this situation than you thought. But think about it, it's something to answer for yourself. Why do they come to you for advice but never see you as a potential partner? Who knows? Maybe you're just not a potential partner and they just need advice. Maybe you're playing mommy role or daddy role or best friend role or brother or sister role, and they need that in their life and they don't have it. Maybe they have those things, but there's no closeness in that way, so they can never have a real conversation with their sibling or their parent about whoever they're with because of some family dynamic or some family situation that happened. Maybe they burnt bridges and now you're the only person there that they can talk to in a close way. You're taking it for, oh, there's something happening over here. And they're like, no, nothing's happening. I just need you for this part of my life. I need you to be this person. Are they invested in you emotionally? Or just taking what they need? Another question. Number 5. What happens when you create distance? Do they miss you or do they move on quickly? If they move on quickly, then you were never that in the first place. Not saying they can't double back and say, man, I really messed up and you were really important. Maybe they didn't realize it, but nevertheless, at that time, they moved on quickly because they didn't realize your importance. So sometimes that even needs to happen. And yeah, you can double back sometimes, but be careful because they might just be filling a void with you. 6. Is their kindness genuine? Or is it just enough to keep you hanging on? 7. Why do they offer just enough affection to keep you interested, but never enough to actually commit to you? There's a reason, and the reason generally is you're just not it for them. But you got to ask yourself the question. Next question, and you should be writing these down. If you didn't, go back to number 1. You need to write them down, and you need to, if you journal. If you don't, and you just want to talk it out, I told you can use a Google Doc or a Word and talk it out, and then listen to your answers to these questions. It's a cool exercise that can actually help you. Trust me. 8. There's 3 more. It's kind of funny how our brains work, eh? Yeah. Are you truly happy with this dynamic or just afraid of being alone? Who wants to be alone? And especially if you extrapolate that into your old age, you're like, well, what am I going to be doing alone at 87 or 83 or 74 or 62 or 65? Who am I going on vacation with? Can I afford a vacation? You know, are you truly happy with the dynamic that you've got yourself into, or do you need to adjust something? Are you just afraid to be alone? So you're just taking up anybody? Because trust me, if you're just taking up anybody, eventually you'll be in that situation and you'll still be alone, or one day they'll leave you and you will not be ready to be left alone. 9. If nothing ever changed, would you still be content in this role? And if your answer is no, and you're not married, move on. But you can answer that question for yourself. Last question. Are you building your life while waiting on them, or is your happiness on hold? Are you doing everything that you wanted to do while they're there, or are you holding everything for them? And maybe you get deeper and maybe you still put everything on hold. Guess what? It's not going to work, and there'll always be something missing because you're not living your life to the full potential. So if you caught yourself in that situation and that's where you are right now, you need to start introducing some of who you really are. And then if you do that, you might find that genuine connection. Remember, in many cases, if it was going to happen, it would have happened already. There's also, taking control of your time can change people's perspective of you. Don't always be available. And remember, walking away isn't losing, it's regaining your sense of self-worth. As they say, flipping the script. How to subtly shift the dynamic in your favor. Yeah, we're not doing it that way this time, buddy. Simplest way I can put that. And you have to know when to cut ties completely and when to simply take a step back. Your most valuable commodity that you have is you and your time. And if you take that away, or if you just pull it back a little bit, you find out exactly what you're worth to the other people in your life. Look, you might think that hanging in there is a show of loyalty, but in reality, it's just postponing the inevitable in many cases. If they wanted you the way you want them, you'd know by now. And of course, this is after a time, so I'm not talking in 2 days relationship, guys. The real flex is knowing your worth and refusing to settle for half-hearted attention. It's time to make a move, whether that means stepping back, stepping up, or just stepping out for good. I hope this podcast episode can help. And if it helps, please leave a comment somewhere. Okay? Please. I don't care where it is. Just put it on the footprints of the internet somewhere. And it will help out a lot. Anyhow, this is MCM, and this is You're Probably Right. Take care. See you again. Oh yeah, before I go, remember, if you have any questions you want to ask, or maybe you have a topic that you want me to talk about, you can email me at yprpodcast@gmail.com. Take care. Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 docs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.